Mr. Governor, I know this upcoming election will be an uphill battle for the Democrats. With President Biden's recent withdrawal, the potential Democratic voters under the age of 40 will likely choose not to vote. I'm particularly speaking of black and brown people who know all too well what it's like to be disenfranchised, misunderstood, and wrongfully convicted. This is a democratic voters I connect with. I grew up in a Democrat household. Both of my parents were community organizers and campaign managers for Mayor W. Wilson Goode, a North Carolina native who achieved the status as Philadelphia's first black mayor. Mr. Cooper, I have spent the last 3 decades serving time for a murder I did not commit. All I ask is to spend my remaining days in the company of my son and grandchildren. Allow me to assist your upcoming campaign as a conduit to the people who may have lost faith in the Democratic Party. My request is genuine. I don't want my grandchildren to endure another 4 years of Donald Trump. Make me the poster child of second chances, and I assure you that my voice will bring voters to the polls on yours and Vice President Harris's behalf. Welcome to The World is a Ghetto Experience. My name is Leroy Mann, and I will be the conduit for this shared space and time that is my reality. A wrongful conviction led to my current state of being. On July 15, 1997, I was sentenced to die by the state of North Carolina. Rather than attempting to try my case on this platform, I prefer to lessen the proximity between us by assisting you on the journey of my becoming. All too often, death row prisoners are judged by people who point their fingers from a distance without bearing the responsibility of contributing to murder at the height of daylight. A normalcy that upstages the aphorism, "What's done in the dark is revealed in the light." This is who Leroy Mann is. I am the byproduct of parents who spoke the pride of being black in the 70s and allowed their actions to speak even louder through their community activism. The child who experienced police brutality while selling ice cream through the window of a Jack and Jill ice cream truck. The high school graduate who joined the U.S. Navy in an effort to drown my childhood traumas within the depths of the Pacific Ocean. The son, the brother, the cousin, the grandfather, a dad who is bound and diligent from one interview to the next. I am the MC, a literary expressionist, chewing through the metaphorical muzzle applied by the state of North Carolina. I'm the toastmaster, the freelance journalist, the spoken word specialist, and author, one who loves the structure of fictional stories rooted in reality. Real, like achieving Story Slam champion status or Duke University's guest lecturer for political theories. I am known as 0255136, marginalized, heartbroken, but somehow inspired. Join me if you will. See what I see. Feel the garments I wear in the space that has been preordained for this unorthodox transmission. Dressing used to be a self-imposed expression. I was always the type to match my leather jacket with my Timberland boots. And if I was wearing sneakers, oh Lord, my ball cap just had to have a similar color pattern. Hey, what can I say? I like to feel fresh to death. It's because of this I can relate to why clothing stylists can earn a living in this day and time. Choosing my own wares came with an inexplicable degree of pride. But for the past 27 years, a red jumpsuit has been the extent of my day-to-day fashion sense. No belt, no turtleneck sweater, no polo shirt to match my latest footwear. Long sleeve or short, a red jumpsuit is the style for today and every day. You see, red has never been my color. Burgundy, maybe even lavender, but rarely red. And now I'm sentenced to wearing red every day. It's crazy how this red jumpsuit defines me to the public as a menace or some type of detriment to the rest of the prison populace. In the shame of wearing this red jumpsuit is predicated on witnessing a glance of acknowledgement becoming a sudden tunnel vision of disregard. A smile directed towards me quickly becomes a frown because the red jumpsuit screams, "Bloody murderer!" This entails an existence that can only be seen in most people's nightmares. So many times I catch myself grasping at my fashionable roots. Sometimes I'm actually indecisive about which jumpsuit I should wear. Hey, they're all red. All of them represent my condemnation by a jury of my peers. Should it really make a difference which red jumpsuit I step into? I don't know. I guess it's just my creator's way of replenishing my sanity, hoisting me above this blood on my sleeves. This garment of reproof is an exact reflection of the bloodlust that dwells within the judicial vampire scheming to drain his God-given oxygen that flows through my veins. And I've witnessed the dismal psychological impact of the red jumpsuit, destroying the esteem of those once believed to be spiritually sound. There are no highs and lows when the red jumpsuit becomes your attire. And let me tell you, being draped in death has driven some to remain awake, while their soul swells with the strongest sense of capitulation. Without purpose, there is no life. And for that matter, the death penalty makes killers of us all. Wearing this red jumpsuit hasn't destroyed my self-esteem, nor has it decimated my will to live. I keep telling myself, it's just something to wear while I'm here. I once read that Albert Einstein didn't spend much time thinking about his daily attire. Well, that's a luxury I just don't have. Every stitch of this red jumpsuit gives me something to think about. A poisonous injection I don't deserve. Taking my last breath on a crucifix-like gurney with restraints. And the denial of watching my beautiful grandchildren make a positive difference in this harsh and cruel world. Yeah, there's plenty to think about when donning this red jumpsuit. 35 trips to the execution chamber. The red jumpsuit prevails at 35-0. Well, I don't plan on making that trip, and I most definitely have the highest expectations of leaving this red jumpsuit behind as dirty laundry to once again feel fresh till death. Welcome to the latest episode of The World is a Ghetto. I am your host, Leroy Mann. And today's dosage of reality comes in the form of a short story I've written entitled Epic Closeout, an expression of hyper-realism based on the true events of a death row prisoner's final days living amongst his comrades. Think about it. When we watch films and television, the life on death row is usually a stereotypical portrayal of cold-hearted killers anticipating some grand last meal and longing for the opportunity to express remorse or their morbid displeasures with this existence. The empathy that flows through a death row community gets lost in the director's vision of an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. In this story, the central character Earl is more than the state's next victim. He is respected by a community of men ready and willing to turn the tide on an establishment that sees them as no more than societal pariahs awaiting euthanasia. The warden was well aware of a potential uprising, so as a means of gauging the temperament, he permitted Earl to host an unprecedented assembly in the first floor conference room. The first of its kind, this gathering proved to be an epic closeout for anyone in attendance. The following is an excerpt from that historical event. Earl's smile was genuine. He continued greeting his comrades with the spirit of a man who was being released from all suffering. "Big dog, what it do? My man Matt, what's good, bruh? Old school, I'm glad you could make it. What? What's up, son? Okay, though, boy, I see you, son." The next comrade to be greeted spoke no words, but in his own unique way, he had plenty to say. "J-Rock, thanks for being here. Earl was met with a solemn expression and a fist bump. Rather than speaking, J-Rock removed a piece of paper from the chest pocket of his red jumpsuit. He handed it to Earl without breaking eye contact. Earl was the first to look away when he began to read the scribe. Brother Earl, Hotep, I am extremely uncomfortable with the outcome of your journey. However, this is a potential reality for all who bear the plight of wearing this garment of reproof. Hopefully, my form of protest will be a vociferous silence that will awaken the comatose practices on both sides of this grave injustice. I will also impress upon our comrades to exercise a unified fast from all meals on the scheduled date of your murder. If you choose to join us, today's assembly won't be the last time that we were all together. I love you, my brother. I love you too, bro. Earl initiated a genuine embrace between the brothers of the same struggle. Is this okay with you, J-Rock? I'll have these words in my hand when I take my last breath. Earl could feel the vibration of rage. He saw the familiar hurt and discouragement in the eyes of a young black male written off as the worst of the worst. He also knew at this very moment it could pop off and this monumental event could take on a much more ominous narrative. Earl stood at a thick wooden podium. On the front, it was branded with the North Carolina Department of Corrections insignia. This tiny room with a high ceiling was generally used for the purpose of officers and shift lineups. But today, the words to be spoken will register much greater decibels than days prior. There were approximately 12 rows of seats formed in a semicircle which surrounded the podium. Those who were unable to get a seat lined the walls on every side of the room. The front row was occupied by Gotti, the Phenom, Lil Magic, Scrappy, Mr. Blue, and Fat Man. Earl acknowledged each of them with a nod before he got started. This is what today is all about. My pops used to say, give a man a fish, he'll eat tonight. Teach a man a fish, he'll eat for life. If we could pull this off today, just imagine how much progress y'all can make going forward. Everybody in this room just became fishermen. So the task going forward is to reach one and teach one. Big Mac initiated a thunderous applause that gave Earl enough time to gather himself. When it comes time for me to transition, the only food I'm going to consume is the Bible. A glance at J-Rock was reciprocated with an appreciative nod. My last words won't be heard in no death chamber, so here and now is what I have to say. I can see God, y'all. I see God in you all. It's easy to see God in the good, beautiful, pleasant, peaceful. We all see God in the sunrise or that rare sighting of a blue jay within the city limits. How easy is it to see God in the success of scientific genius, as well as the architecture that reaches the lower depths of God's sky. I see God. I see God in being unashamed of the soil I come from. I see God in the tornado that makes confetti of the Midwest. I see God in the tragedy of the Titanic, along with the $250K for a one-way trip to go see it. I see God in the fall of two tall structures of capitalism and the rise of one monument symbolizing freedom. I see God in the orcas attacking sailboats but not killing the humans at the helm. God is in the freedom that stands on the other side of fear. I need you, Lord. I see God in the oppression of a chosen people. I see God in the black, yellow, and green, the red, brown, and white. I see God in the unjust killing of a Jack and Jill ice cream worker. I see God in the cures for cancer and AIDS. God is also present within those who withhold them from those in need of a cure. I see God, y'all. I see God.